Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's watch party for In Search of Darkness Part 3 for the movie Creepshow. As always, I'm Andrew, and I'm joined by our wonderful friends Dom and Carla. Say hello.
Hey, horror fam.
Hi, everyone.
Okay. Well, as I say, we're going to be watching Creepshow today. It's really exciting. Really looking forward to that. Today's sync point will be at the first establishing shot of the house after the Warner logo vanishes, which on my copy is about 15-16 seconds in. But while you're getting ready for that, we're going to play you this little clip of Creepshow from In Search of Darkness. So enjoy, and we'll be back in a moment.
Creepshow.
Creepshow is the reaction of the sort of the Spielbergification of horror from two guys in the cheap seats in Bangor, Maine and Pittsburgh. So Stephen King and Romero get together and they're gonna make their funhouse horror movie. It's unlike anything Romero had ever done, and it's unlike anything King had ever done. And I think that informs the energy of that movie. It's 5 short stories. There's not a dud in the bunch.
They're all moral fables, every single one of them. You know, the one with Leslie Nielsen deals with greed. He wants to get revenge on the man who's seducing his wife and stealing her away from him. E.G. Marshall, who wants to remain closeted in his little insular cocoon. Vivica Linfors, whose father treated her badly, but she still shows up for Father's Day. And she still goes to his grave.
Happy Father's Day.
Nathan crawling out of his grave is amazing. That musical sting, boing, when the hand comes out. It's magic.
Beyond the fact that it has great effects and I want my cake. You can't not talk about that segment and not talk about Ed Harris's dancing. It's the greatest thing ever. I think that's one of the fun things about 80s horror is you see a lot of actors who now have gone on to do like prestige movies and these big things, but they're all in these like weird, quirky little roles in 80s horror. And you're like, wow, that's kind of cool. And just getting to watch like somebody like Adrienne Barbeau, who I knew from The Fog, playing like this crazy ditzy drunk lady yelling at her husband all the time.
Out of my way, Henry, or I swear to God you'll be wearing your balls for earrings.
She was nervous about playing such a bitchy character.
And then you get to watch her get eaten by this beast in the crate. It's a movie that offers a lot for everybody.
I love Fluffy. I love the creature in the box. I love Delia and her birthday cake. And I love seeing Ted Danson buried in sand and all of that. But the most memorable part of that is Stephen King covered in meteor shit.
Yeah, meteor shit.
Meteor ship.
George Romero said, is there anything in there you would love to do? I said, yeah, I would love to play Geordie. He said, well, Stephen King's going to play that role. Would you do me a big favor and play the dad in the wraparound, the beginning and the end? Stephen King's son, Joe King, he played my son, and I threw that comic book into the garbage can out front. And then he voodoos me to death at the end over my cornflakes. But I had to smack him early on, and Stephen was never out of the room. Tom, you're not going to hurt him, are you, Tom? You're not going to really hit him, are you, Tom? You know, he is my boy. You're not going to. He's only 9 years old, Tom. You're not. And I said, Stephen, come on, I'm a professional actor. How do you wrangle the hundreds of cockroaches? You know, some exotic cockroaches were allowed to escape into the wilds of Pennsylvania. Don't tell anybody.
It's such a pivotal movie that didn't get them the credit they deserve, I don't think. Because in the years following that...
Hello, everybody. We're back. Hope you enjoyed that. So Leanne's asking, did the movie start? Not quite yet, Leanne. Not quite yet. So, right, everybody, while you get getting the films all queued up, I just want to say, Carla and Dom, when did you first see this film? I think, Dom, you're like me, you first saw number 2 before this one.
I did. I first saw Creepshow 2 when I went renting movies. I think I saw Creepshow 2 in my friend's VHS collection. I used to go around and pull out random horror movies. And that was great. And I've got a story for Creepshow 2, which I'll save for the Creepshow 2 watch party.
Okay.
But I saw Creepshow 1 like when I was 12, I think, at first. And I loved every second of it. I had loads of EC comics that I managed to gather, and I loved Tales from the Crypt as well. So this was Tales from the Crypt, the movie, apart from the Tales from the Crypt movies. And it was such a great horror comedy. It was just lovely. I enjoyed every second of it.
Right. And Carla, when did you first see this?
I did see this before I saw the sequel. This came out in 82. I saw it relatively young. I remember seeing it relatively young. And I just remember it was a ton of fun. And I think it was my first anthology that I had seen at the time. So I was like, I get 5 of these stories? Like, what's going on? But no, yes, I saw it when I was young. It's my first anthology. And so it just has all the good feels.
Right. Well, that's great. So what we're going to do is let's get into playing the movie and get chatting through it and really enjoy it.
One announcement before the movie starts. Yes. So a little bit of trivia. So in the first segment, Father's Day, you'll see that an ashtray plays a significant part in that segment. But, and I'm posting it in the chat, the ashtray also shows up in all of the other segments. So as we watch the film, I want to see if you can spot the ashtray. And when you do, let us know in the chat.
Okay. All right. Well, everybody, get ready to start the movie on the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press play. Now we're seeing that very ominous establishing shot of a house in the 80s.
Yes.
Definitely not an homage to Halloween either.
No.
Definitely not.
Right. Well, this film was supposed to come out in October around Halloween, but they didn't want to compete with Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. So
which is quite ironic because we're hearing we're actually hearing Tom Adkins himself here, aren't we?
Yes.
Yes, and one of the rare occasions where he plays an absolute bastard.
Exactly.
Well, he's not got his mustache, has he? That's probably why.
I know.
That's his superpower, yeah.
Yeah, it looks kind of weird without it, actually. But yeah, so they did like a limited release in October in Boston, and it did well. And so they pushed it back to November. But I was like, funny that they thought that they were going to get blown out the water by Halloween 3.
And the child here is young Joe Hill, Stephen King's son, isn't he?
Yes.
Wow.
Guys, this child gave me nightmares. This is the creepiest kid on film I think I've seen since Haley Joel Osment in Sixth. This kid, even last night I was watching, I was like, what is wrong with this child?
Well, speaking of Haley Joel Osment, Carlo, on our private sort of communication thing, we have that Garner movie post, which I'm a huge fan of, the one for The Sixth Sense. Did you see that one I posted? That was tremendous. No, it's just anyone go and look for it if you can. But I just want to say a quick roll call for our friends who are joining us today. So over on YouTube, we've got Horror Fan, we've got Wickerbear, we've got Dirty Cash 36, James Hellier, we've got Soul Search and Destroy, welcome. And we've also got Michelle Dedrick, Scott J, and Soul Search and Destroy wants to say, Dom, that they love your background.
Thank you. I tried to pick the spookiest thing I could possibly find, and I had a very short amount of time to do so. This was the spookiest I could get, a graveyard.
Okay, let's go through some of our friends joining us on Discord. We've got Chaos Fear, Eric, Calbot, Sharon, Zachary, Hannah Rose Artist, welcome back. We've not seen you for a while. Leanne, let's go through. Wickerbear is joining us over on YouTube as well. David Mace over on Discord. Zachary, I could see Robin, our CEO, is joining us, and Brainwire's here as well. There we go.
I would love to see a Creepshow purely just an animated segment of Creepshow. I haven't seen the latest TV show, actually. I've not seen the rebooted TV show. I need to watch it.
I saw the first season. It was okay. It was pretty good. And then the second one, I just couldn't finish. So
it's not something I don't even know if they show it in the UK, to be honest, because I don't think it's something there.
Yeah, that's why I haven't seen it, because I was still back in the UK when it was airing, and I was like, I don't want to get a subscription to Shudder when I can't physically access it.
Right.
Such an amazing cast in this movie as well.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Oh, and Adrienne Barbeau plays the best.
Let me tell you, when that segment comes up, there's this one scene that I want to point out where she does something, and I'm like, she needs all the awards because she did something with her face, and I'm like, wow. I'm like, this woman is evil, and this woman's a great actress.
She's an absolute sweetheart in real life, as you know. I spoke to her previously when she was and she's absolutely wonderful, as so many of our stars are.
I wonder how much of a pain in the ass that would have been to frame that. Oh, they would have just sketched it from the frame itself. What am I talking about? Exactly. I was thinking they did it the other way around.
I'm just waiting to find out that this is actually the April Fool's Day party is now happening next door for these people.
And yes, that's Ed Harris with hair.
It looks very strange. He also has the best dancing this side of Friday the 13th Part 4.
He's kind of got that substitute teacher vibe about him in this, though, with
he does.
the kind of the jacket and the jacket and shirt combo.
Mm-hmm.
It must have been as a child, I thought he was Peter Weller for some reason. As a kid, I must have gone, that's RoboCop.
Oh, that's funny.
Because my brain canon, it keeps saying, I know it's not Peter Weller, but it feels like Peter Weller to me.
Mm-hmm.
I love these older 80s films because they still have a hint of the 70s aesthetic, kind of bleeding into it. But
they do have that kind of 70s vibe about them, but they're not quite as much despair as a 70s film. 70s films love to be depressing, didn't they?
Yeah.
Especially 70s sci-fi, strangely enough.
Yeah. They still do have a collar you can ski down, though.
Yeah.
Also, for all our American friends, traditional British holidays like Christmas tend to be more like this, where everyone just hates each other and they talk smack about each other to each other's face.
Yes.
See, we'll do it behind your back. That's the American way.
Yes, we use what's that? Passive aggression. That's our talent. Here it is.
Yeah.
The marble ashtray.
Mm-hmm.
Skoj saying,
what?
Here's our ashtray's first appearance.
My grandfather had a giant black greenish marble ashtray like that. It was heavy. I dropped it on my toe once as a kid, and it felt enormous to me because I was a child. But yeah, my toe started going like black and blue, and I thought I was going to lose it. But I played with it because of this movie. It's like the penguin's grandmother, isn't it?
It is.
The cigar that she's just chomping on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Such a nice estate. I would love to go there for a vacation.
No, I wouldn't.
Okay, some murderous zombies tend to appear, but only if you pour liquor into the ground.
Yeah.
think they filmed this in Philly, Pennsylvania.
It looks like
Probably
a house that
Pennsylvania.
belongs to someone with a
Yeah.
lot of.
Oh, in Pittsburgh and the suburbs. I guess
Yeah.
George A. Romero, that was his thing. He liked to film kind of the Pittsburgh, Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Soul Search and Destroy says, I'd go ghost hunting in this location. Well, if you like ghost hunting, we've got a film for you later this year you're really going to enjoy. You might not have seen. So we'll talk about that later.
Would you like, and anyone, would you guys in the chat like to live with a cemetery on your property?
No.
Me neither.
I've seen way too many horror films to allow myself to do that. If my wife suggested it, oh, let's go move in here. This haunted house that crackles with thunder and lightning every time someone looks at it, I have to turn it down.
When, strange enough, I have a bit of a strange story. When I lived on my own many years ago, the house I was living in had a woods next to it. And I was off work with quite a high fever, but I managed to get an early Blu-ray copy of the Blair Witch Project when it was still, because the way it was released in America quite a while before the UK. So I had a copy of the Blair Witch Project at home. So it was my premiere. So I'm off work ill with quite a high fever at night with the woods next to me, watching the Blair Witch Project for the first time. It didn't go down well at all.
No, I can't imagine it would.
No.
These segments trying to emulate moving comic book panels. Filmmakers, where have you gone? Why aren't you doing this anymore? I know someone out there is going to want that cake, like that, just icing everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
As a diabetic, my leg is aching just looking at it. How did the maid / chef allow that cake to happen?
There really is something about off-key music that's really quite unsettling.
Yeah, because it's almost right. So it messes with you.
It's a real talent from the musicians to actually be able to play it just enough off key to make it not sound ludicrous.
Yeah, to make it not sound like just noise. I also love how she just stole flowers from the garden to.
So much effort.
Got some things from the chat about your question, Carla. Soul Search and Destroy says, I lived a block away from a cemetery and there was a park for kids next to it. And Hannah Rose Artist said, I wrote this on the YouTube chat, but my old apartment complex was close to one. Oh, right. So a 5-minute walk with a little swing set and jungle gym for kids right next to it. I'd go there to relax. No.
It was funny for this scene, the actress used the motivation of her horrible relationship with her own father and her hate for her ex-husband. And so she told the director, George Romero, like, can she just channel all that? And he was like, go for it.
I don't like whiskey at the best of times.
Oh, you know me. I've still got my my bottle of whiskey here, actually. So
that's a different one, Dom.
It is, yeah. It's not.
What are you saying, Dom? What have we revealed here?
It's also barely got any left in it. It's more or less empty.
Yeah, Dom, maybe we need to have a discussion offline about this.
Exactly.
Jim Beam.
Apparently there's something about a tale about Irish whiskey being poured on a graveside and bringing people back to life.
It wouldn't.
I believe it.
Folk's tale or something.
As a Scot, the Irish whiskey is so vile that it would bring the dead back to life.
Chaos Sphere says pouring a 40 on the curb.
The voice, like synthesized tones from that zombie, is one of the most frightening zombies in cinema, in my opinion. Like, it's
so well done. It holds up to this day. Like,
oh, it is. It's really well done.
Because it's got motivation, it makes it that much more terrifying rather than a mindless corpse that just devours.
Right.
Oh, the lighting of this entire film
It's just
and this dancing scene. I have tried that move.
Uh-huh.
You've got to remember, though, the era this was out, this was the dancing. Disco was a
Right.
thing.
Where's John Travolta when you need him, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, Ed.
The most preposterous thing is that little ghetto blaster they've got there actually sounded halfway decent in the room.
Yeah.
Why is the
Oh,
is the maid cooking as well? Because that apron is filthy.
filthy. I was going to say.
She never seen Downton Abbey, where it must be impeccable at all times.
Exactly. And I'll say it again, the lighting in this film is something else. Like you said, it takes a lot of influence from the 70s, having very, like, really brightly lit scenes in color, in like very opposing colors, blues, reds, greens.
Mm-hmm. Well, Horror Fan says, I will be listening, watching along to all the previous watch parties. They're not a new viewer to this viewing time. Oh, welcome. We hope you enjoy the archive. There's a lot of good stuff there from horror, sci-fi, and fantasy. So there should be something there to whet your taste buds, we hope.
The park next to my house in England has a unique ability to create the spookiest of fogs that just meander on the ground. Much like this.
It's strange. Where I live in Wales, in the UK, we often get sort of fog like this. We get weird lighting effects some morning. I think the weirdest, I don't know if you remember it, Dom. It was in the UK about 2 years ago. Everyone woke up and it was Blade Runner 2049. The morning was this weird orange kind of haze cover to the whole of the UK.
Yeah. Whoever built these tombstones needed better masonry. The second like accidental jump scare is when you should turn back and go to the house.
Right.
There won't be a third.
And he's not even related to this woman. I'm like,
yeah, why are you going out, dude?
Not my relative,
Yeah.
not my auntie.
He's kind of half disco dancing in the cemetery.
Where better place to disco dance?
Yeah.
No wonder the spirits are pissed off then and annoyed.
Yeah. Please don't drink that.
Why?
Please don't drink that.
No.
See, kids, that's what happens when you drink.
Yep.
I always wondered why he slowly tried to get out. And now I'm realizing it's because the earth is sunk and he thinks that if he moves the earth too much, it'll disrupt the...
Hello. Let me give you a hand.
Oh,
Oh.
and the noise and sound effect, the noise.
Oh, that wet sound.
And then he laughs. That's
It's this
that's cold. That's cold. That zombie is
this
cold.
neat little chuckle.
Well, our friend Hannah Rose Artist just posted a picture from Beetlejuice in the Discord, and it's getting a lot of people liking it. You do know there's a watch party for Beetlejuice later this year. That's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm not here for that, unfortunately, but I'm sure Carla and Dom will look after you.
We'll try.
So what is So what is everyone's favorite cake that would make you come back from the dead? That you would
Cake?
come back from the dead for? Cake, yes. What's your favorite cake?
Cake from the dead.
Diabetic.
I've got a question then, Dom. Since you are diabetic and you're British, were you ever as a child unfortunate enough to be bought a Kinnerton Easter egg?
You mean the sugar-free chocolate Easter egg pieces of garbage? Yeah, I was.
Yeah, my grandmother bought, I'm not diabetic, but my grandmother bought me one as a child by accident once off the local market.
It's like a cruel trick.
It is. It's like, this is chocolate, but why? Why is it doing this to me?
It's chocolate, but wrong. I did grow up thinking that a lot of families were like this because I have fairly wealthy relatives, especially in the grandmother, grandfather regions. They were very posh British people. So it was constant bickering and nastiness being thrown across the tables. So this was so close to my reality.
Oh, Jedi Wizard saying, and again, Carla, I agree with you there. Costco cake. Everything at Costco is great.
Yeah.
Costco, okay. For those who don't know what Costco is, which I doubt there's many people who don't, Costco isn't a shop, it's a religion, it's a cult. Because everyone loves Costco. Because as soon as you go to Costco, you have to tell everyone how wonderful Costco is and how good everything at Costco is.
Hot dogs, pizza, the cake.
Cake, yeah. But some of the answers you got, Carla, for your cake, I think, I do think Wickerburr went a bit easy on the answer, which is devil's food.
Oh, this one scene that's coming up, just the close-up. I love his sass. Oh, even some of the shots just through the window like that.
Exactly.
Given the height difference between the two actors, it still manages to get them both in frame. Oh.
That is just the worst. Oh!
I love it. Gag arg. Our first segment, everyone.
Yes.
Fantastic.
The thing about this format that's great, but I don't know how well it would age for modern kids if they were to remake this. I know the series is doing its own thing, but with this format of the comic, with the younger kids, would they even get it with the cutout adverts and the layout and the stuff it's showing?
Probably not.
With the X-ray glasses for 25 cents and the
sea creatures, the sea monkeys.
Control things with your mind, or the famous one that shows the guy getting the sand kicked on him on the beach.
Ah, yes. Quick, everyone. Who is playing this hilarious character?
Stephen King.
Yes.
But this was this from his time where he was consuming all the substances?
It might have been short. I think it was during that time, not as heavy yet, because this was his first screenwriting film he wrote as a screenwriter. This is his second film as an actor. I think when we get to the Maximum Overdrive phase of his career,
Maximum Overdrive, he said he has no recollection of making that movie.
Exactly. Okay, so look for the ashtray. Let's see if we can spot the ashtray.
I love this. All Dutch angles. I do love Geordie's sense of wealth.
$200.
Yeah.
It's real quick, but the ashtray is on the desk. The doctor's desk.
That's right. Scott J got it on the desk.
I mean, but really, like, what would you do if a meteoroid landed in your yard?
Mhm.
Like, I know I wouldn't touch it
Yeah.
that much.
No, I certainly wouldn't.
Especially if my fingers did that.
Oh God, I hadn't seen this for a while, and I remember this segment now, and this is one of my phobias. I have I have kind of two phobias that are connected. I have the one about kind of like pustules all over your body, and I have one about like, I don't know if you've ever seen the image on the internet someone posted. It's like a photoshopped image of where they've photoshopped lotus seeds onto somebody's shoulder, and it makes it look like you've got
That's
those
my
kind of and
it's a thing. I can't remember the name, but it's a thing. Yeah.
It's like a phobia of two things, like pustules and like holes in the body.
Mm-hmm. When asked for like, how should I perform this character, he was told to think of Wile E. Coyote from the cartoon. Makes sense. It's interesting to have the first segment be so serious and straight up like a horror slasher film, then to come to this segment, which is a little bit more kind of dark comedy.
The music as well is very 1950s, like a B movie.
Yeah.
Media shit. Everyone's favorite line.
No, Andrew, you gotta warn someone before you post.
Yes.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's not. That's a photoshopped image. It's not a real one.
Yeah.
Let's mark that as a. I know I should know better.
No, I need a drink. I need a drink of whiskey after that.
Well, I've got you covered here. Let's.
Oh. I think half the audience are now vomiting or in terror at the moment from that.
Oh, wrestling, early 80s wrestling.
Wow.
Yes.
Is that even, that might be even old.
That's probably earlier, yeah.
That's probably, yeah.
Actually, have we established what year this segment is even supposed to be set in?
I don't think so.
Could that accommodate for why he's talking about $200? Because it not being, I mean, is it set in the 50s or 60s potentially?
Potentially. Oh, this lighting, I can't get enough of it. It's gorgeous.
It is.
It reminds me so much of like Giallo movies.
Oof.
TV magazines there, that's kind of 80s.
Yeah.
No, they're all older. I don't know.
If it's a TV
that phone though. Even the cutout bit has now changed. It was like rainy before, now it's the skull and crossbones. But again, it's all Dutch angles. It's very subtly telling you this is not reality.
Right. The attention to detail as well.
Yep,
it's little hints.
The ashtray was on the desk of the doctor.
Yep.
Oh yes, I love
doctors do it.
This shot with both of them in frame, I think, when he's cleaning the
yes, right.
Yeah, look at that. Gorgeous. It didn't even look like it was a split scene. It may have been just a really flat lens. You look here. But yeah, it makes the scene look like a comic book panel, because in a comic book panel, there isn't someone out of frame in the background. That's a cinematic choice.
And Soul Search and Destroy says, this is why we always wash our hands after handling dangerous substances from outer space. Well,
exactly.
He's still a more responsible scientist than the scientists in the film Prometheus.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, we're in a strange alien spaceship with black goo everywhere. Let's touch everything.
Everything. And you can tell how aggressive this substance is because it's spiky.
Exactly.
It's growing everywhere really fast, but the spikes just make it seem so alien and aggressive.
Right. And also this segment made me itchy.
Yes.
Yes. And poor Stephen King, he was allergic to the makeup and stuff they were using.
Oh.
So he had to take medicine, shots, and pills to just make it bearable that he could get through the scene.
Oh.
Well, I mean, we've got a few people saying so. We've got Wickerverse saying, could we take a moment to applaud the camera shots and the colours set up in these scenes, which is true. And Scott J says, these scenes make me itch so bad. But something I referred to before we were on the air was referring to Creepshow too, that one of the segments in that has a very much an amazing stories kind of feel to it. And this does too. It's not so much a gory, nasty segment.
Right.
It very much does have that kind of, like I say, amazing stories feel to it. But apart from that, I'd be looking for some kind of happy resolution at the end.
Yeah, it's an amazing story without the Spielberg-y charm.
Amazing stories with a little Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
In.
Popoy vodka.
Popov.
Oh.
So is he just making the world's biggest vodka and orange?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Phonic says, biggest? Looks like a regular one to me.
Yes, that's what you had on TV in the 80s, wrestling and religious programming.
That's true.
Poor Geordie.
I wonder if it would have helped him if he'd rang Peter Popoff and got some of the miracle spring water to see if it would it actually watered his plants or. I do find this quite a strange story though, because it's not really explained. It's not just growing on. It's growing on his house and him. It's just growing on everything.
Well, it's certainly the goop soaked into the ground.
Right.
Yeah.
And later on, we see that it's, well, we'll see. Don't want to spoil this movie for people who haven't seen it yet.
I don't know if some of the shots of the outside, they look like paintings almost. With the bright colors and everything.
I think something else that's making me feel very amazing story like this. It's got Spielbergian soft focus, that kind of dreamlike quality to the image.
Yep. Oh, look, it's the guy from Poltergeist too.
Sing with me, child.
Good God. Nightmare fuel. I love how the smoke is even like coming out of that. Oh yeah, they make the water look like the best water in the world with that blue light. It's making me thirsty.
Edward the Black Prince posted Uma Thurman as was it
Poison Ivy.
Poison Ivy? Yeah.
Yeah, from Batman and Robin.
Who did it better, Uma or King?
Who wants to take that bath? It looks so heavenly, says Hannah Rose. I don't know. I'm gonna tell you a little thing about me anyway. I don't like baths. I don't like them at all. I can't have if I have a bath, I have to have a shower afterwards because I don't feel clean if I go in a bath.
Oh, it loves me a good bath, a nice scorching hot bubbly tub.
No, don't like it. I don't feel clean after a bath.
Because my skin is practically peeling off my body and blisters are forming everywhere thanks to the scalding, I normally feel quite clean.
Onzi says he likes a bath bomb.
Yeah, bath bombs are great. Problem with the glittery ones, you're covered in it afterwards. You feel like a princess, but it gets everywhere.
Oh, Sharon agrees with me. In America, do you guys have Lush as a store? It sells bath stuff and smelly stuff in some states. I think I might have some
Bath
states
and
have
Body
it.
Works. We don't need Lush.
Yeah, but Dom knows what Lush is in the UK, obviously. Yeah. Oh, I'll go back to the film and I'll say about this in a minute.
This stunt. Real shotgun because it's cheaper than using a fake one. And Tom Savini was in the costume when he shot it, and he had to like position his head to just not get blown away.
Blown off.
That's a stunt that wouldn't happen these days.
No. I think it was probably a dud, like no shells in the.
Unless you're Quentin Tarantino, then
yeah,
possibly.
Oh, there's a Stephen King
Castle Rock,
Castle Rock and Portland.
And Portland.
So I was going to say, we have a chain over here called Lush that sells like homemade bath products and stuff. Dom might recall this. You walk past the store and you need a gas mask, any store in the country, on the street, because the smell of the bath products is so strong coming out the door. You can taste it as you walk down the street.
Oh, I loved walking past Lush. It was great.
Ted Danson, pre-cheers?
Yeah, I think it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, pre-cheers.
I miss Leslie Nielsen.
A lot of people seem to forget, though, Leslie Nielsen was a very serious actor until Airplane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was a bad guy. He played a lot of villains.
Yeah. Wasn't he also a regular on sort of I'm not going to say specifically Columbo, but on the Columbo circuit of the bad guy of the week on a lot of TV shows?
Yes. Mm-hmm. I remember years later when I saw this, and it had been a while, it was all after all the like Naked Gun, Repossessed, all those films. I was really thrown about him being serious in this role. I couldn't wrap my mind around it, you know? That range is amazing that he has as an actor.
Oh, he was. He was a great actor.
Was it this movie where he was carrying around like a fart machine and just occasionally pushed a button?
Yes.
He did that in quite a few machines on set, not machines, quite a few movies on set and on TV shows and things and interviews as well. He'd have his fart machine. But I think it showed what a great actor he was because he could do so much stuff straight-faced.
And that's always the funniest thing. Like, I don't see why so many comedians these days don't emulate that straight behavior, the constant straight face of not even cracking a smirk.
Now, Andrew, as a tech guy, I'll be curious to kind of get your thoughts about all the tech setup, because this is the early 80s, and
It is.
and he had like, was this even realistically possible back then to have like his setup and everything that he did? So
Well,
as we
everything
go
we've
along.
seen so far is realistic. I mean, we've got a dictaphone. Oh, sorry, not actually a dictaphone. I'm wrong in saying that because it's not a dictaphone brand dictaphone. That's a Sony personal voice recorder. It's like it's one of those things like Velcro. You can have there are other hook and loop fabrics, but
Yes.
unless it's a dictaphone, it's not a dictaphone technically.
On a road near the shore. A wooden house on the beach. Surely that would be rotted in no time unless it gets properly lacquered up.
Yeah, it would be treated properly. There would be in beach houses. But I don't think
It'd be absolute pain to live on the beach.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean those cameras, yeah, they're fully realistic for the era.
This does look like one of those a slightly nicer British beach, like seconds away from grass, then beach happens, and just refuse everywhere on the actual beach itself.
I kind of agree with Sharon. As someone who hates the ocean from a very young age, I can't stand it. This segment was just terrifying. I don't mind the sea, looking at it. I'd go in a boat on the sea, but what I don't like is I don't particularly love beaches, nor going on the beach. I don't like the feel of sand everywhere. I don't like being messy like that.
Are you saying that sand is coarse, dry, and gets everywhere?
Yes, I am.
I mean, also like the trouble of sand, and what's the payoff? So you get a tan, you get to build a sand castle, like I don't know, just the sand in the shoes, like this, it gets into everything.
Well, someone also who takes pride in his car. I don't ever go to the beach or let people from the beach go in my car because I will not have. No. I will not spend weeks trying to get sand out of my car.
But you know what? I take that back, because when I went to the beaches in Costa Rica, I don't care. You could have dumped sand on my head. It was so nice. The water was so clear. The sand was so clean. Oh, I went to a black sand beach and a white sand beach. Oh, so nice.
A nice beach is amazing.
Aesthetically, I'll look at them, but I don't want to be on them.
Try your luck, Ted. Just jump in. Go in that hole, you're a goner for sure.
I don't know why people never try to rush people with guns. I don't know. I guess it's stupid. Yeah. But I mean, you absolutely know if you get in the hole, it's over. And it's going to be a slow, painful death.
He must have had to be really, really quick with digging that hole, or timed it specifically well, or had a third person do it for them. Because on a beach that close to the seafront, if you dug a hole like that, you'd be very much reliant on the tide coming in or going out at the right time, so your hole wouldn't disappear.
Well, he lives there, and he says like he's aware of the tide and such, even when he's driving up. I would have liked to see like a couple of kids like building sandcastles in there or something when they arrive. He's like, shoot, get out of here. I've got a murder to do.
Unless it's a private beach and he owns that section as part of his property.
Yeah, that's what he just said.
Yeah. Okay, the other thing as well is why did the bullet appear to ricochet? It wouldn't ricochet off sand. The next thing
magic bullets.
The next thing to watch out for that's a common thing in movies where they are on beaches and things is if we see the car screech off, the tires make a screeching noise that often they put on sand.
Oh, imagine not being able to scratch your nose when you get sand on you there.
Gosh, torture. That must be like a 5th level of hell or something. I'm just, oh.
Also, if he's buried that much, he would have to be really careful with his breathing, because what would happen is if he was buried deep enough, as soon as he contracted his lungs too much, if he took a deep breath, he would struggle to expand his lungs back again.
Also, wet sand is like, it's really heavy.
Yeah.
So compression.
Oh, sand in your ear as well. No, get it out.
So
we're just enjoying the film now.
Right. I guess he has to have a really long cable cord to hook up the TV to his house.
I don't know. Is he just powering it, or is he getting a picture as well? So they appear to be. I mean, if it's power, he might have an inverter in his truck to power it, and it's probably a bit big for the era, but it could be a 12-volt TV, like a camping TV.
Wood grain. Yep, my ear is itchy now. Damn sand.
Well, to be honest, he's saying,
It's a VCR.
it could be that it's connected, just the input to be connected to a cable further down the beach on another camera, which he's buried in the sand. To be honest, all you would need to do is, if you could, you wouldn't even particularly need to bury the cable in the sand. You'd just need to basically leave it on the sand, and with the tide going in and out, it would pretty much bury itself as long as you have sufficient amount of cable. Yeah, Sharon's right. Cable from the camcorder, quite possibly.
So far we've had death by hungry zombie with the sweet tooth. We've had death by stupidity with the weeds. And now we have death by drowning. Which of these three you think is the worst way to go? Like,
drowning.
Absolutely, the drowning.
There's a lot of people really drowning being a... Yeah, Sham says death by drowning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have drowned as a child. I had to be resuscitated.
Wow.
I've died a couple of times. I've had to be resuscitated a couple of times. Seems that neither the gods nor the hells beneath want me too much.
Dom's just immortal.
Yeah.
Or I've got 9 lives and I'm really running out now. Listen for the tire screech. Nope. No tire screech.
Dom is
there
like
we go.
Keith
This film is 100% accurate.
Yeah, Dom is like Keith Richards of the Rolling Stones. He can't be killed by conventional means.
No. Some say that the only way to finally finish me off is to stick a silver stake through my heart during the, I don't know, global equinox. Not global, universal equinox.
Fonzie says, drowning stuck in sand. How long can you hold your breath? Eric says, true, you can't. You won't have enough room to breathe. That is the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Horror fan says, drowning in this way that they've lost breath before.
Oh, this would suck. This scene coming up as well.
The thing is, though, if he's lucky enough, if you can see that sand is starting to get quite waterlogged by his head, which means it would be starting to turn into effectively quicksand. And if that was the case, you would probably be able to get enough you'd kind of have to do that, sort of keep wiggling very little amounts until you wiggled enough room. You might stand a chance of getting out partially. But
that's what Leslie Nielsen's character was saying. He was like, if you can hold your breath and keep cool, you can get out of this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The key is, I suspect that this sand with the water would form what's called a non-Newtonian liquid, which is a big word there, which is basically the kind of the substance it would form in kind of that half wet, half dry state. It becomes harder by you temporarily putting more energy into it. So that's what he means about staying calm. So if you were to pull hard against it, it would be very difficult. But if you were to pull very gently and slowly, it would be quite easy because you'd not be putting as much energy into it to make it firm. Jedi Wizard, exactly. Maybe that's the fear of what's keeping them there. Exactly.
The slow blade pierces the flesh. I love 80s like Machiavellian mansions like this with like secret TVs just behind paintings.
He's so
and the
sadistic.
fabric everywhere. He is. He's relishing in it.
Gosh, he's relishing it. Wow.
Oh.
Oh, Sharon's saying ashtray yet. Did I miss it? Is it in his house?
Oh no, it's coming up.
Okay.
Bathroom, I think, isn't it?
I think it's bedside table. His bedside table.
He's getting bored now. Or is he starting to regret it?
Eric saying, oh man, this is a terrible way to die.
This scene, oh, I love it. I love those colors. He looks like he's about to transform, doesn't he? If I remember correctly, he was in a tank and there were people with sledgehammers prepared to crack the glass.
Yes, he was in a tank. They would let him take in some oxygen, and then they would film the scene.
God, imagine if you had to do several takes of that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I think that's how the TVs were connected. That appears to be coaxial cable. So that's what you would connect a camera to the TV with. So quite possibly it was connected to the camera up her end of the beach.
So would the water really pull their bodies out though? I would think not. I would think they would still be stuck in the sand.
I don't know. It depends how much sand would be because remember, there's going to be millions and millions of tons of sand displaced by the sea, and your body is naturally buoyant when you're dead.
Well, I guess that bucket that he just pulled up, they kind of gave that as a reference to see how buried that was. So maybe the sand that he's completely buried under the sand.
Such George Romero-esque shots here, just
Yeah.
music over the several establishing shots. It's very ethereal, very Day of the Dead.
Sharon's saying, but the water wouldn't penetrate way down in the sand and if displace the bodies, right? You'd be surprised because the water will penetrate the sand. You'll be surprised by how much water, how much sand gets moved and brought back by the sand.
Yep, the ashtray.
Ah, yes, the stack of VHSs.
Both Sharon and Onik spotted the ashtray on the bedside table.
It's a very 70s, 80s bad guy apartment, like Dom was saying. There.
Yes.
There's also an incredible amount of stuff on the floor that I would trip on if I was staying there the night when I got to use the bathroom. Like, why would you put a random small stone circle sphere thing on the floor by the door?
To trip up people who go to the bathroom at night.
Yeah.
Calbot says, love the velour tracksuit.
Yes, I was going to say, like, imagine taking that to bed.
Oh my gosh.
It'd be so sweaty.
Hannah Rose Artist said the horror, the tracksuit.
It's the true villain of the story.
Exactly. I've always wondered what he was wearing around his neck, like what that symbol.
It's very similar to the symbol from the game Quake.
I was going to say, it's like a Quake symbol, like quad damage. That's how he got so. That's how he killed him so quick. Just a really long tail on the Q. So much
Here comes
green.
the fog.
Actually, yeah, how did John Carpenter not have a problem with this segment?
I don't know. They're wrecking the carpet, that fine, expensive carpet with all this salt water they're dripping on it.
Oh, yes.
But a question,
I can smell that carpet.
A question for Americans. Why is it that you have a problem with stall doors, be they shower or public bathroom stall doors that go all the way up and down?
So you can peer out at the intruders coming into your house.
Just because in the UK, we don't have that. We have shower doors that go quite far up, and our public stall doors also, usually, you can't make eye contact with a person sat on the toilet at the time.
Right.
That's half the fun. You make friends.
When I've traveled, I've been in those type of stall doors that go all the way up. And I don't know, it just feels claustrophobic to me for some reason. I mean, what would all the peeping Toms do, you know?
Exactly. You got to think of the peeping Toms, Andrew.
Yes, you've got to. You have to accommodate them in society. So.
That's right. Wow, that is such, again, an 80s bathrobe he's wearing there. That kind of. I think I had one very similar to that in the 80s as a child, like a child version. With the piping and stuff and the patterns on it. The thing is, that looks like a service revolver. Is this the dark side of Frank Drebin?
Yeah. Especially when he keeps saying, like, Wordsworth. What's the character in Naked Gun now whose name's similar to Dutch Angle? Here we go, getting freaky.
Yeah.
I keep hearing Squidward now and I can't unhear it. Oh, that pulling of the strings.
Squidward, get out of here.
Ted Danson's daughter was on set when he was in his zombie attire. and he was trying to like stay away from her, so wouldn't upset her because she was a little girl. She found him. She was like, "Hi, Dad. What's up?" Totally unfazed. Oh my gosh. That's some really good makeup though.
And they feel so wet, don't they?
Yeah, and heavy and just
I don't see many water washed zombies these days.
No.
No.
I think everyone's a bit burnt out on zombies at the moment, to be fair.
Oh, yeah.
And these are teleporting zombies too.
They are. Oh, I love it. Love all the camera work in this movie. His house has such clashing themes in it as well. Like,
it does. No, I don't know. This was a bit of an early 80s kind of thing, late 70s thing we're seeing in his house, where everyone who thought they were cool had loads of faux Japanese and Chinese stuff everywhere.
Yeah, along with the like Venetian doors and really Greek architecture of the place. It's like, what are you doing? The feng shui is all off here.
The alternate ending to this was that he was actually going to get caught and arrested by the police and then sentenced to death. And while he's getting executed in the gas chamber, he says, "I can hold my breath for a long time." But I prefer this version.
Oh, yeah.
Well, was this version shot later? Because if you look, his hair is substantially different to earlier in the movie. So was this shot as a pickup, maybe?
Potentially.
Yeah. Probably because they actually they have the script for the other alternate version ready to go. So
here we go. The crate. My personal favorite.
Yes.
So I have back in my parents' home in England, I lived in the attic, and the attic had this little crawl space with a triangular entrance similar to that. And I showed this movie to my friends as a child, and they were enamored with this segment in particular. And they scribbled on, and it's still there, the words "Fluffy's room" on this entrance, this crawl space in my house.
That beard is so tidy, it looks fake.
Yeah, it's too well kept. Can't unsee Reanimator.
The 80s when everything was beige.
Billy is such an amazing character.
They really should not have put an ice cube in her glass for continuity reasons.
Yeah, because it's like melting and stuff.
It's melting and reappearing in different shots.
Everyone needs a Billy in their life.
Oh my gosh. So a little bit of trivia for folks. Creepshow is one of 4 films that Adrienne Barbeau and Tom Atkins co-starred or were in the same film together. Do you know the other 3? films.
I think I can only
says,
name one.
Chaosphere says Garth Marenghi wrote this segment. Which, if you've never seen Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, which is a British show, it's well worth watching.
Right, right. The Fog is one.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I can't unsee Reanimator, and that is creepy because she looks so young.
Yeah. Right. How Holbrook was also in The Fog. Nope, honestly, not Halloween 3.
I mean, Hal Holbrook's a legend in his own right.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Right.
Soul
Edward
Search
the
and
Black
Destroy
Prince. Oh,
says never trust a house and people who are too clean.
Dark got no problems then.
Prince said The Fog and Escape from New York. Yes, those are two. There's a third one. It's not 80s, it's a 90s film.
A Reader's Digest from 1894 would be
1834.
sorry, 1834.
Yeah.
This is so close to being Lovecraftian.
How come whenever I see a janitor in a horror film, I always think it should be Dick Miller?
Yes.
I'm always expecting to see Dick Miller.
Well, that would also be a problem, is Reader's Digest wasn't first published until 1922.
That was the joke, I think. I'm starting to be worried that I might be the Billy in my marriage. I need to ask my wife if she wants to shoot me with. I love that.
Right. So Wickerberg got it. The Fog, Escape from New York, and in the 1990 film Two Evil Eyes. And in all these films, they were in the films together, but they were never on screen together. See, I love Adrienne Barbeau's character building this because you're like, she's not just a drunk, right? It'd be one thing to just be a sloppy drunk, but she's like, doesn't like her husband at all. Like clearly, she can't stand him. She hates him.
Arctic Expedition. You're gonna find a DeLorean in there on bricks. No wheels.
I feel like, Brad Pitt, what's in the box? Like, would you open the box?
What's in the box?
What's in the box? Would you open the crate?
Was that two John Carpenter?
Yeah, it was, via.
Oh, Julia Carpenter.
Yes, from the Arctic.
I mean, this kind of reminds me a bit of something in a true British thing that was in the news a few years ago here. The Americans amongst you know what a pantry is, of course, like a food storage cupboard room. There was someone who bought an apartment, and when they were taking the wallpaper off the walls, they found a door behind the wallpaper, and the people had decorated over, when they'd papered over it, there was a door to a fully intact pantry from like the 1970s inside. And it'd been there untouched for years, with all tins and stuff in.
Why would you cover it when you want to use the pantry?
I don't know. It's
That's
just
so weird.
and not to even empty it first. It was like fully stocked.
Very peculiar. Just breathing in some ancient dust. It's going to be fine.
What I would say about this is it seems very strange. No one's noticed this behind the clearly visible mesh. You know, it's not completely hidden. But
lazy janitors. No one wants to clean back there.
For 150 years.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe no one goes into the basement too much.
It's more than my job's worth. I won't bother. This is actually really reminding me of the film Horror Express with Christopher Lee. Horror Express is a great, well, it's a good movie. It's got an amazing theme song. But if you haven't seen it, it's about some horrific beastie on a train in a crate like this that gets unleashed and starts taking down passengers.
I love movies on trains, set on trains like that, where it's kind of, you're in an enclosed space, you can't escape.
Yeah.
What's it called? Horror Express?
Horror Express. I think. Yeah, Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing. Yeah, fantastic film. With a mighty 6.5 on IMDb. But yes, it's a 70s film. 72? Yeah.
Nice.
We've got horror fans saying Horror Express is a great film.
Yes.
But again, this is a reflection of the era in the 80s where a toxic relationship like this was a lot more of an acceptable thing to see people in rather than calling them out on it, rather than people having support for this kind of thing as readily available.
It's still pretty prevalent, especially in England. The amount of my friends who casually just say like, oh, I've got to spend the day with the wife and stuff like that. It's like, what? Why are you so upset about that?
I mean, they never thought that, okay, clearly somebody wanted to keep something in the box, keep people out of the crate.
But what could it be? It must be juicy treasure. Oh, the sound design as well. Just hearing the wood peel slightly as the nails squeak out of there. Can feel the struggle that these dudes are going through just taking this thing apart.
No, I would let you, Dom and Angela, you guys could open it. I'm going to be upstairs.
Yeah,
you can send me a Snapchat or something like.
I wouldn't be as eager to do that. I'd do something. I'd take my technology route of doing it, and I'd probably drill a hole and put an endoscope or something in it.
Meanwhile, I'm there like opening the thing up, getting devoured.
And I'd be like, Dom, God's sake, stop! Let me just check what's in the box.
But I want to see what's in it. In the end.
Or I do the modern thing that we all do right now. When you open a crack like that, I'd have lost my phone at this point because I would have my phone on with a torch on, holding it inside, take a photo to see what's inside it.
Right.
It's all right. You don't need that arm. Oh, yeah. It just pulls him in, doesn't it?
I would say that looks rather like Hoggle from Labyrinth. That's a dark twist to Labyrinth.
Hoggle's origin story.
Yeah. Oh, no, that doesn't now. That looks like Harry and the Hendersons.
Yeah.
Right, an evil version. It's fully animatronic puppet that Tom Savini did. What's so cool that he had no clue how to do it. So he called Rob Bottin and was like, talk me through this over the phone. And I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, I would love to be in a room listening to those two talk. About
Yeah, that would have been a
special
great
effects
phone call to listen in.
Oh my gosh.
This poor guy. He was so traumatized, he went to go be a scientist in another university in Maine.
Hannah Rose is appreciating the guy's two-tone pink polo shirt.
Oh, yes. This is why no one managed to uncover the chest before. Floppy just went back.
Yep.
Probably a couple of times where he just munched on a few students.
The foreign exchange students never went home.
Yeah.
He's right. Campus security is no good.
Who keeps a pencil in their front pocket shirt like that?
Oh, he's got a pocket protector they kept in, I'd imagine. They were a big 80s thing you'd keep. Oh, no, he's just got pencils in the pockets.
Yeah, I get the pen, but pencils.
No.
You tried.
Edward the Black Prince has got to respect a monster who takes his home with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just wants to be left alone. Some good blood. I was about to compliment the film, well, not compliment, but note on the fact that when the colors are like really flashed out and red and bright and you can't see anything but the red, you can't tell that it's blood leaking out of them. So they could have used any liquid and, well, there's all that there now. He does great babbling, doesn't he?
Yeah. Clearly in shock.
Oh, Onzi, that's bad. They should have called him Jack, not Fluffy. Jack in the Box.
Oh, it's revolting.
So it must have been a nightmare from a production perspective with making this film, because there's quite a lot of blood here. And back then, a lot of fake blood was made from corn syrup with dye added. Can you imagine the cleanup? It'd be like everything would be sticky constantly, especially for a sequence where something had to have blood dumped on it and you had to clean it up for a reshoot.
Well, that's probably why they did the red flashing and then the very liquidy liquid that just plops around everywhere.
Because it's one of those things that no matter how when it looks clean, it's always sticky afterwards.
Yeah. That surface is perpetually sticky for eternity.
Yeah.
It's such
Yeah,
a
at this
real,
point-
like, don't go near it.
Reaction. At this point, he deserves to get whatever he gets.
Yeah.
At this point, you see a shoe, you see blood. What more is there to explore?
Yeah. You see, right now, I would have gone and called the police and just left.
Right.
Called the authorities.
I can't remember if he goes for the shoe.
Yeah, that was a
You
mistake.
done goofed, kid.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oops.
Harry and the Hendersons took a very dark turn in the
Yes.
in the prequel.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Oh man. Tom Savini is a savage. He is a man.
Oh, Chaos Sphere, stop trying to out-pun each other. Next time, use a monkey wrench.
What kind of a door is that thing? It looks like something from a medieval dungeon.
Call the police. 911.
Nah. Got to do something first. The police can wait.
You know, I love how that's where his mind went. Like that, like, immediately saw an opportunity. Wow. I think this reaction he's having is so real, and it reminds me of the reaction in The Thing when they did the test and they were all tied to the couch.
Mm-hmm.
And that guy's just like, he's like, I'd rather appreciate not being tied to this effing couch.
If you all don't mind, I'd rather not spend the whole winter
Right.
tied to this fucking couch.
Exactly. Two very real reactions to an unreal situation.
So here's a question for everybody, because the chat are backing. Well, the chat seem to think Snagglepuss could take Fluffy from this movie. But let's change a little bit. So Fluffy from this movie versus the werewolf from The Howling.
Oh.
Let's see what our community thinks of that.
I haven't spotted the ashtray yet.
That's a great idea, Sharon. That's a good trivia idea for you, Carla, at some point. From Sharon in our Discord.
Oh, which will we see use the most amount of blood? But just from the looks of it, I'm guessing it's the crate. That the crate and the Father's Day were really the only two where you saw the blood.
Again,
Soul
that
Searching Story
lighting.
says, Fluffy is mindless and amoral, but at least does a good deed at the end. The wolves in The Howling are seemingly more immoral. And James Helly says, by the werewolf from The Howling, do you mean the were-Yorkie?
At the end.
Oh no.
Oh, and Scott J's got it. Our fourth ashtray's appearance on Henry's desk writing table with his letter. And Jedi Wizard gets the ashtray as well.
There was a crane painting in the hallway just then. I swear I had that in my house when I was younger. It's a lovely location, actually.
Yeah, it's an American
Basement, not so
university.
much. And they killed the janitor as well.
Bonzi's going with the howling werewolf could take Fluffy. But then you could have a real problem. What if the werewolf bit Fluffy and Fluffy survived?
It'd be like Prometheus, right?
You'd have like super power.
What is that tool he's picking up? It looks like something that would fluff a fan?
It might be for cleaning fan slats, actually, for cleaning on the top of them.
Yeah. Either that or brushing the ground during curling.
It's a duster. It's probably for cleaning fans in like on ceiling fans. You can clean the top of them, so it curls around.
Yeah.
The top.
Okay, how much does he hate his wife? Your friend just told you 2 people were murdered by this thing in a box. He has no fear. He's just like going in there, doing his thing. Like the hate for his wife is overriding his fear in this situation.
He routinely fantasizes about killing her.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I think initially he thought that Dexter was just mad and he's done something bad, so he's going to clean up the mess for him.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a miracle you didn't kill anyone on your drive, woman.
Exactly.
Don't drink and drive.
Drink driving.
Exactly.
I just felt really, I don't know if I would say I feel old or I felt really strange there just for a second, because you heard her pull up, and as you get older, she pulled the handbrake up on the car and you could hear her pulling the handbrake. I have not pulled a handbrake up on a car now for years. Show my age, I learned to drive in a car with a manual choke. Did you, Carla? We had a choke, you had to pull out and push in as the car got caught.
Yeah.
Yeah. God.
It's been yeah. Wow. Completely forgot about that. This story that he concocts about what to lure her there, it's like he knows her so well, right?
Yeah.
That it would have to be some drama or some mess that she could gloat about one of his friends.
Well, someone's
look how happy she is about it.
Well, no,
right.
Thrifty. The couponing.
After all her drinking, now she wants a glass of milk. Interesting.
Some of the Quake symbol.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Whiskey and milk.
Oh, that's gross.
Oh. What is that, like a horrific white Russian?
The reason is people drink whiskey and people drink it because it lets you drink a large quantity of whiskey because it cuts through the taste of the alcohol.
Oh.
John. No, John, no.
Thank you for that information, Andrew.
Sharon Clue and Cream. I was one of the people who got introduced by the White Russian from The Big Lebowski, and I do like a White Russian ever since.
Yeah. The dude abides.
Only thing I would maybe say about this segment is I think it maybe overruns a little bit time-wise. I think it maybe could have been a bit tighter.
Potentially. I enjoy a lot of the characters in this segment.
Me too.
Like, Wilma is so easy to hate. It's arguably one of the only ones that has a good ending as well.
A comeuppance ending.
Yeah.
She is like so gleeful.
Mm-hmm.
And other people's like misery.
Yeah.
Wow.
Horror fans saying, I'm doing another watch party after this, not sure which one. I have all the previous ones to choose from. However many are there? There's a lot. There's a lot. Onzi's saying, I wish Creepshow 2 had as many stories in it as Creepshow 1.
Yeah.
Well, that was something we were discussing. There's only 3 in Creepshow 2. Oh, God, she's brought her whiskey milk to uni with her.
How'd she not spill it?
Oh, it's not much left in the glass.
She's an expert drinker.
I have so much to learn from her.
Jessie Fres says, he murders her because does she really deserve to be murdered? That's a very moral question. It's a good one.
I mean, no. She's just a nasty person. Divorce her, for God's sake.
But it's the stereotype story of you're married to someone who's so foul and nasty you can't see a way out of it, so you unfortunately result to murder.
Right.
Which sadly isn't an unheard of story. It's just a very elaborate.
She's emotionally abusive. I'm surprised she doesn't hit him as well, to be honest.
She might do for all we know.
I love the subtle, like how uneasy he is about it, how he's like stopping himself from pushing her in.
Yeah.
Oh, you see that? I don't see that at all.
Sharon, I agree with what Sharon's saying. There's a lot of marriages that are like this one. Yes. However, most of those don't end up with the husband feeding the abusive wife to a monster from the Arctic that's 150 years old.
That we know of.
Right. I mean, now we have so much true crime stuff, right? That people are kind of used to it. But back in the early 80s, we didn't have a lot of these stories out there like this. Oh my, I love how Fluffy is not responding until she opens her mouth. He's like, who is this woman? I gotta shut her up. Like, dude, you don't have to do all that. Just sit back and let her open her mouth.
Yeah. Friday Night Fights, so potentially they have had a violent relationship in the past.
That's beautiful. I need to use that in my repertoire.
No. Wow. Oh, below the belt.
Yeah, Fluffy's just saying, "I got you, bro."
Exactly. Exactly. Sophie's like, that's it. I've had enough.
Oh. Yeah, well,
But you can see he's
divorce
still,
lawyer.
Yeah, but you can see he's very upset by what he's done or been pushed to do.
No, he's not. He's really not. I really truly believe he's not. He's just like, oh, okay, got that over. Now I gotta do the crate. Like he's like moving on.
Mm.
I don't know. I don't think he has any regrets.
The only thing is, surely now there'd be a big investigation about all these people that went missing in the school, in the university. Then the police might discover, when they're looking deeply into it, the cave, this area that's previously gone undisturbed,
with all the blood and the spilt whiskey milk.
I guess there's no cameras, anywhere. So
no, but the thing is, that's a brand new padlock if the police investigate.
Mm.
And his fingerprints are all over everything.
Yeah. And there's blood and matted hair everywhere.
One of the professors is going to be coming down in the basement saying, "Where's my 100-year-old monster from the Arctic?"
Yeah.
I was going to feed my wife to that thing.
Also, I'm not sure if Fluffy's actually really that strong at all, to be honest.
Doesn't seem like it.
I gave the box to top men. Yeah, exactly. Chaos Sphere.
Put it next to the Ark of the Covenant.
Speaking of that, that's a film we're going to be watching this year. I'm really excited for our first Indiana Jones movie.
Nice. That crate is not that secured.
Really isn't.
Yes. Sharon once said, Indiana Jones, you say, yes, we will be watching an Indiana Jones movie this year, which I can't wait. To be honest, Fluffy did him a favor here, and he's treated him badly.
He can't possibly let that thing carry on taking care of people's wives, can he?
Now, I thought this scene was also interesting between the two friends when he realizes what his friend has done.
Mm.
My headcanon is these two are in love and now they can be together.
Don't bring it into the 2020s.
Yeah, the only thing is, his friend who was there with the crate being opened hasn't kind of really done anything wrong. He was a victim of the situation.
Yeah. Right. But now he knows his friend is capable of committing murder.
And look how much happier he is and secure. He's wearing tennis shoes and everything. Yeah, barely chaining it up to the point where it can just
Exactly.
peek its fingers
Yeah.
out.
And it makes me think I can hear Billy and in his head right now, like berating him for not even chaining it up properly.
Exactly.
Go, Henry. Can't even do that right.
But the two of them now are happy. There's a sitcom to be made. They can
Mhm.
watch. They can watch Small Wonder in syndication and have a lovely 80s together.
They were supposed to have her body floating out in the water at the end of this, but they were like, no, it's a bit much.
Ooh, muscle up.
Yeah, but that's there we go. That was the classic comic advert.
Oh,
This one bothers me.
yeah,
Bothers me. I don't know how the actor did it. I don't know how he did. I want to know how much he got paid. If he had a stand-in, like, whew. Now the music that's playing is from
Doing with
The
it?
Evil Dead.
The Evil Dead.
Mhm.
And the computer on the right that we're seeing
Oh, it
that's
is.
buried there is an Atari 800 XL.
Mm.
Oh, there it is.
There's the ashtray.
It's a soap dish
Yep.
now.
Yep, soap dish.
Such a spotless room.
He's clearly based on the rumours of Howard Hughes back then.
Being a giant agoraphobe.
Well, he was a billionaire who was not just an agoraphobe. He was suffered from mysophobia. It's like a fear of germs and bacteria. And Howard Hughes was him. Howard Hughes's car, one of his personal cars, had its own independent air system fitted in the boot, in the trunk. Sorry, the trunk. If I speak American here, in the trunk, whereby it would only have like pre-conditioned and filtered and isolated air from the outside world.
Why didn't that catch on? That $200 a month apartment. Some places in America now, that's cheap.
Yeah, back then that was a lot.
Mhm. Now that's like the price of a closet in New York or San Francisco.
Yeah. Ups and Pratt.
So I mean, an interesting story that's sort of connected with this is because he's clearly based on Howard Hughes. Is a Howard Hughes story. There's a TV station in Vegas called KLS TV, or it used to be there. I think it's still there. And it was owned by Howard Hughes, but he bought the station because he didn't sleep at night and wanted to watch movies. So he bought the station to control their programming, to make them play movies about cowboys and planes for him at night.
That's crazy.
See?
Well, actually, it's not. I mean, you have Elon Musk wanting to buy Twitter, and so, wow.
Speaking of Vegas filming stuff here and Elon Musk, apparently Nicolas Cage wanted to build a film studio in Vegas, but Elon Musk kind of moved in with his Tesla factory, and apparently that's the area he wanted to build it in. That's a shame. I would have loved to have a movie production over here.
So a little bit of trivia for folks. Which of the talent in Creepshow was the most expensive to have for filming?
I know
don't
that one.
I don't know the answer, but I'm going to guess it was E.G. Marshall.
No, close.
I'll give people I'll give people a moment.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting because I bet back then they were actually killing the cockroaches in these scenes, but nowadays in the movies they can't actually even kill the cockroaches. I think the Humane Society would.
We have a correct answer. Sharon said the bugs.
The cockroaches.
Ikey says the cockroach. Yes, the cockroaches were 50 cents a piece, and they had more than like 200,000 of them. They cost $125,000 on the cockroaches alone.
I believe they were also like a foreign species to this part of America, and they weren't supposed to let any of them escape.
Right.
And many did.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, they were brought
Can't
over
tell
from
cockroaches.
the American Museum of Natural History. There was an entomologist there. And provided, I was like, yeah, how do you wrangle cockroaches? Like, of course they're gonna get out.
Well, something I just noticed about this movie, and I don't know if it's a prop being reused. Do you see that telephone he's talking on, that speakerphone with the various lines that he's got in front of him? That was the same speakerphone model on the bed by Leslie Nielsen in his apartment.
Wasn't it pink in?
No, I think it was white, but it was just the light around it. I'm pretty sure it's the same one.
I love how he's smug about this.
That's why everything had to be so white. They wanted to have like a plush penthouse type, but they couldn't with the roaches. They would never be able to.
Never be able to stop all the roaches.
Right. And this whole sterile environment, the need for control, goes along with the story and the character.
Yeah,
sure.
It was the 80s. Everyone had a food processor with an incredible number of accessories that just rattled around in cupboards. Whee!
Now, I don't know. Okay, I want to ask you guys this. When I was watching last night, it occurred to me, I don't know if the roaches were really real or not. Because in one scene, he squishes it with his glove, and then when he pulls his glove up, there's no roach on it. So I was like, is he imagining all of this?
I reckon a lot of it is psychological. There's probably a few roaches in there.
I don't know. It could be people with this condition do imagine germs. That's why he's wearing the white gloves. He's imagining the germs. He's imagining the bacteria there. So is it the next step of his manifestation is that it's roaches?
How far back were like computer glitches referred to as bugs in the system?
The bugs in code, but it pretty much from
the answer.
No, I'd say, well, with modern computing, probably from about 60s, 70s, bugs in code. It might just be a term you'd use also to say to substitute a glitch.
because everything computer-wise, like starting to fail on him, would have been a nice
bug.
touch as well.
Yeah.
If you've ever been out somewhere and you found something in your food, it's like the most soul-shattering experience.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
you're just completely, it's the worst. It's the worst
Yeah.
because you start thinking and you can't stop thinking. And yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I've got a bit of a weird relationship in my life with eggs. I'm not vegan or vegetarian or anything like that, but I have two weird egg incidents well, not too weird, one very awful egg incident and a general kind of thing. If I ever get eggshell in my mouth for months afterwards, I can't eat a piece of egg. I can't eat egg because I keep the feel of eggshell in my mouth, especially if you crunch it, it puts me off. I literally would spend the 6 months not eating eggs because I don't want that feeling in my mouth again. It's a real thing. Now, if anyone wants to put their fingers in their ears for the next 30 seconds, I'm going to tell you a story about why I didn't eat eggs once for 2 years. I was about 12 or 13 years old and I was at home. My parents were at work and I was making myself some scrambled egg. I grabbed an egg off the counter, cracked it into a jug to mix it up, and there was a dead half-developed chick inside.
That would, put me off eggs for a while.
yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
It's a
I've
chicken
heard
nugget
of
for you.
that,
Just deep
but
fry it.
But I've never heard someone I know had that experience.
Yeah.
Oh, that sound effect of just slightly raising up and then shutting it down immediately before the stump.
That's why I like to eat at home and make my own meals. I really don't get fast food because I don't want some like 15-year-old who like doesn't care to like drop my chicken burger on the floor and just pick it up and put it back in the bun. And then after watching Kitchen Nightmares, that show Kitchen Nightmares, like it's hard for me to go out to restaurants and stuff now. I don't know if there's a phobia around that, but whatever it is, I have it. Like I like to eat at home and cook my own food.
In the UK, we've got a system very much like you've got in America where they have a score system. We call it scores on the doors in the UK, where a restaurant has a rating from 1 to 5 as to how hygienic they are. It's not as to, is it good food? Is it nice to eat? But I'm rather careful about the minimum score restaurant or takeaway place I will have food from. It has to be at least a 4 for me.
One of the places that my friends and I used to frequent, a Chinese place, where we'd get all-you-can-eat buffets. A couple of years ago, that was rated a lovely 0. And we were all like, great.
Oh my gosh. I think here's the scene where he crushes it coming up with his fist, and then when he pulls back with his gloves, and when he pull like right there, but then when he pulls back, there's nothing there.
Nothing.
Oh dear, we're sorry, Sharon. Yes. Sharon says, I'm having a gross attack thinking about bugs and spiders and eggs.
The one thing I say about cockroaches is they will be here long after we cease to exist as a species. So much respect for that, I tell you.
They look to have different types of roaches there. There's like the giant roaches, there's flying roaches.
Oh my gosh, when I moved to Texas from California, the flying roaches and the bugs out here.
Come to Vegas. No bugs.
I almost thought about moving back, but then I was like, no.
Well, as
all we have is scorpions and snakes and spiders.
As a lot of you know, I quite like going to Florida, but there is an insect in Florida at a certain time of the year called Florida love bugs, and I don't know if anyone's ever seen them. They are like beetles and they are horrendous. They're attracted to white for a start, which is great because most hire cars are white. They fly around. They're like flying little beetles. But the best thing about them is they're nightmare fuel because they are doing the do with each other in front of you. So it's 2 of them joined at the rear end flying around. And that's why they call them love bugs.
Sounds pleasant. So, headcanon. The way he dies, like you said, Carla, he's imagining all the bugs. There's a blackout, so his oxygen tank isn't functioning and he suffocates.
Ooh.
Yeah, because
Oh.
Mm.
Do you know what it is? It's not the cockroaches in the bed that's the thing for me. It's something I read out. I don't like anything weird in the bed, like crumbs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Anything where you're laying on
Yes.
and it makes it.
some of those roaches are not roaches, they're like nuts and raisins that they sprinkle throughout just to add to the volume of the roaches.
See there? He was like gasping for breath.
And everything looks so clean, like you don't.
Yeah, this is why I think it might be a psychological thing for him. But he's even got a seismograph in his room. I think he's just paranoia.
Or it was a voodoo.
I'm
Oh
asking in the
no!
chat
Why?
what they think.
Oh,
Yeah. Ah.
oh.
Ah.
This I don't say this much, but this bit is gratuitous.
Oh. Leaves you that. Oh.
Yeah, they had to end with like a. I mean, they knew this was going to be the final story.
Yeah.
So I guess they had to end with the bang. And they figured, hey, we paid for all these damn roaches. Might as
Yeah,
well use.
gonna use them. One of these is Tom Savini. Yeah, there you go. One of the garbage men's Tom Savini.
Yeah.
See, my garbage men are this aggressive with my trash cans as well.
Yeah, I'll not get you onto the UK garbage men. We have
No, because they'll riot immediately. Well, not riot, but they'll strike.
yes.
I always think about that film Men at Work with Emilio
Yes, I was just
Estevez and
thinking of
Charlie
that.
Sheen.
I was thinking of that.
Authentic voodoo doll.
They are the most generic looking cornflakes ever on the counter
Yes.
behind him.
Who does laundry in the kitchen? Okay.
80s mums that don't have time to do breakfast and laundry, so they do it at once.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're overstepping the mark from a row with your father there, Billy.
See, I told you this kid is the scariest thing in this whole film.
Yeah. And Scott J says, Ashtray's fifth and final appearance is on Billy's desk. Why is the ashtrays anybody's guess?
No, I don't think. I think it was just in the segments.
There we go, everybody.
There we
That
go.
was Creepshow. So let's summarize the film. I'm very mixed about it, to be honest. I've not seen this in a long time. It's my first rewatch for quite some time. And I still prefer Creepshow 2, I think. And I think this one just seems a lot more mean-spirited, even though the other's not particularly nice. I don't know why. I think you love it.
I love it. I think it's mean-spirited, like you said, but it's none of the characters who bite the dust are that likable, which is fun. Like even Ted Danson in his segment, he was an adulterer. So everyone gets some kind of comeuppance. Dexter's like the only one that is totally innocent and nothing bad really happens to him apart from his mate's a bit of a jackass. But it's all
just
like
seeing some more twists in the stories at the end, some more stingers for each story. But then again, that's what Creepshow 2 tends to have a lot more of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, Creepshow 2 really has the one that stands out, the raft, like that really captures for me the essence of what Creepshow is. Whereas the first film, I feel like more of the segments capture that for me. The crate, something that tied you over, Father's Day. I just feel that this, for me, it had more strong story elements. And the coloring and the camera angles, it felt more like a comic book movie, whereas the second one didn't feel as much comic book.
No.
For me.
No.
Yeah, the second one is more generic horror film. This movie was shot beautifully. The music was amazing. It is a very well-crafted movie. If the stories felt generic, I still attribute that to a positive, which is they're emulating like EC Comics, that kind of stuff. And I think it really does. It feels like a comic book brought to life on the screen. It's a tremendous film.
Yes.
Okay.
And there is,
I was
going to say, there is a Creepshow museum that's located in Louisiana. But it's also, they have like a Facebook page. I posted it in the chat. They have the largest collection of original Creepshow memorabilia.
I thought you was going to say there's a Creepshow 3, and I was about to say no, there isn't. What are you talking
Actually,
about?
there is. There is.
No, there isn't. Let's pretend it doesn't exist.
There isn't. I forgot. I need someone to do another Men in Black on me and make me forget.
Exactly. So if we go to some of our community, we've got see what they think about it.
And ask them what their favorite segment was.
Well, exactly. So I've got some of the bits here. So we've got Scott J on YouTube saying our ashtrays. Yeah, you got that. And Soul Search and Destroy saying fantastic film. Rafcon says this one feels more nostalgic to be horror. Creepshow 2 feels like it found its own identity. I rewatch these all the time, but I end up watching 2 more often. Now let's go over to our Discord gang. Let's have a look what people have got to say. So we've got Sharon saying this is a true classic. I love it. Jedi Wizard says there are better vignettes than others, but overall a classic that stands up today. Onzi says I love Creepshow 1 and 2. The raft is awesome. Sharon likes the comic book feel. And let's go through. Pizza Joe. I've never seen this movie before. I liked it. I think the second segment of the meteorite was my favorite. Sharon says, why have we not heard of Creepshow 3? Did it suck that bad? Yes, it did. Chaos Sphere wants to adopt Fluffy.
Yeah.
And
he lives in my home in England.
And the there we go. And the stories here feel more memorable than Creepshow 2, which only had the raft, which was the best of the movie. Sharon says the old chief segment from Creepshow 2 is my favourite story. But everyone's enjoyed this. So, everybody, that's this watch party done and dusted. We will be back in 7 days. And because it's nearly May the 4th, we are going to be watching, and Dom and I can't wait for this, Return of the Jedi. So just to get this out of the way, give you time to get lined up for it, we will be watching whatever the edition on Disney Plus is, because it's going to be the easiest one for everyone to get, which I think is the special edition. We will confirm it in the Discord and on our socials for everybody anyhow. But everyone stay safe, look after each other, and we will see you in 7 days.
See you then.
Bye.
Ooh.